Brendan, can we start with an update on Robertson Edward?
Yeah, he won't be available for the game tomorrow, but we're very hopeful that next week he'll be ready. He's played a lot of games, Hodgson, and like I've said before, we've been unable to take him out because of the position that we're in. But yeah, he's not available tomorrow, and he should be fine for next week.
What's the injury?
He just had a soreness of his abductor. So yeah.
Continue the list. Ryan Christie.
Ryan's available. Yeah, back in the squad.
How much of a boost is that for you, given how serious you feared the injury might be?
Yeah, I think it was more protective from the medical team whenever he had the injury and he couldn't really move and put his foot on the floor. So obviously when he gets carried off, people maybe think it's going to be a lot longer term, but it was more for protection than anything else. And he's worked very, very hard. He's been brilliant, right? So he's very keen to get back as quick as we can. But we have to ensure that he's not pushing it too much as well. But he's trained now for a few days and looked really good.
Kieran Tierney's missed the last couple of games and trained today. Is he injured? Or?
Yes, yeah, he won't be available either.
When will he be back? Will he be back for the next?
Hopefully, yeah, next week. Yeah.
What's the situation with Tom Mortgage in terms of his availability for next Saturday?
Well, at this moment in time, he's due to play his last game for us away at Aberdeen, and then he's due to fly out to meet up with the Australian squad on the 27th. So that would mean him missing the last game. Now, it's not something we're overly happy about because we want to work in relationship with the federations, and I spoke with Graham Arnold, the manager here, and had 2 really good days of trying to ensure that relations are good between international teams and club teams, and we can build those relations. But you do that through working together and what is the best for each player, and we feel that Tom can play on and be available for the 29th and fly out after the game and meet up in Dundee on the 30th in the morning and still be there virtually a week before he's due to play his first game. Tom wants to play in the game, but he also wants to play for Australia. So it's a position that I don't think that the player needs to be in. It's clearly, it's a showcase game. The Celtic Rangers games, Rangers Celtic, the great games. He's been great in them for us, and of course he can play in it and still travel and recover and prepare and get ready for the competition in January. So no, it's the club are looking into it more, and we hope that we can find a sensible solution which allows him to play and then travel and then be ready for his game, which he would be.
Has there been any flexibility from Australia, as far as you're aware, in terms of this? Are they adamant he has to fly out after the Aberdeen game?
Yes. Yeah. As with the other players. I know Neil's in a similar position in terms of he's got 3 players, of which one of them they didn't even know about until he told them. Out of, again, building relations. I think Neil told them about Martin Boyle that they didn't know, and all of a sudden now he's lost him for a big derby game. So I don't think it's a sensible solution, if I'm being honest. I think it's one where, and you can't just throw a blanket over everyone. Each individual case you got to look at and just then judge it on its merits, because, like I say, the players, these are big games for them. They want to play in, but they also want to play for the countries as well.
Has there been leeway in the past with Australia?
We've never really been in this situation, but what we've always tried to do is I've always tried to encourage the players, to travel. And I know for Tom, a lot of the time he's travelling to the other side of the world to play. And we normally forfeit a game whenever Tom does go away and plays for Australia, and when he comes back, I normally forfeit that game when he does come back because of the exertions of travelling across the world, playing for his country, coming back, the tiredness, the fatigue, everything that takes out of him. You normally find that in that next game he's not normally involved. We allow him that time to recover. So yeah, so it's disappointing if we can't find a solution, but I'm hopeful that like I say, that they can see sense with it and see that they can still get the players in good preparation time, and then, like I say, be ready for the tournament start.
So negotiations are kind of ongoing, are they, Ben? You've not given up hope, as you're saying?
No, because we have to fight for the player as well. You know, the player wants to play in the game. He wants, you know, I think if he travels out on the 27th and then he sat, having hardly done any training for a couple of days, and he sat watching the Rangers Celtic game in Dubai, I don't think it gives him a good feeling knowing that he can be playing in it and still be there in enough time to prepare for his tournament, of which he'll be away for a considerable period.
Ultimately, Australia are the ones who are in control, are they? You know, the national team's always the one who has the final say, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like I say, you want to be able to hopefully work together with it, and that's something hopefully that we can find a solution that works for both them and for us.
Just go back to Ryan Christie if he's available. Might he? You've obviously got a decision to make as to who you play up front. Is he someone you feel that can fulfil that role as well as potentially Mickey Johnson?
We're quite flexible. They're not obviously out and out strikers, the guys that you've mentioned, but they can play in that position. I think the key thing is they want to score goals. So they can both play.
We saw Callum McGregor sign a new deal at the club yesterday. Just how important was it for Celtic to secure him for 5 years?
Well, it's great news for everyone, really. You know, he's a player that's really developed and blossomed over these last couple of years, Callum. Been an incredible player for me. You know, his tactical brain, how he can play in so many positions. Just seeing his personality grow, playing in the biggest games, going on and becoming a key player for his national team as well. So we've really got a player that has got the best years ahead of him. Like I say, he's a wonderful technical player. He's got great insight of the game. Callum, for a young player, his view of the game is incredible from every area of the pitch. Really, he just plays the game simple, and that's always the mark of the top players. They make it look simple when it's not. So for Celtic, it's great news, and for him, it's a great reward. But like I said to him this morning, you now get hungry again to push for your next contract, and that'll be important.
It's become a bit of a running question with yourself about your captain Scott Brown. I appreciate you want to keep the privacy of the conversations that you have with him as such, but do those conversations mean there's still a decision to be made there?
There's nothing to add. Scott's playing, he's working well, and we'll see what January brings and beyond.
Callum was one of the players who went out on loan, Brendan, you know, a year or so to Notts County, came back and made it. Does that give encouragement to other players? Anthony Ralston, for instance, been out on loan, back again. He can do it at Celtic.
Yeah, it should do. Ronnie, it's one where sometimes at the biggest clubs, sometimes you need a career outside of the club before you have your career in it. And you'll find that if you trace through lots of players that have gone on and having very good careers at their own clubs, big clubs, sometimes they have to have that career outside of the club to get games, to get the games in their legs, to feel the pressure. There's some players that come straight into a team and stay in the team and do really well, but many young players, they need to go out and get the games into the right environment to feel that pressure. Like you say, Ryan Christie went out when he'd come here, got some loan time, and it was invaluable for him. Tony Ralston, as you say, has gone out and at Dundee United had a nice little spell, and he's now back to a level where we'd like him to be at. Played great the other night, and it's the same for other young players. So sometimes you might not be ready at 18, 19, but by the time you get into 2021 at the biggest clubs, then you hope they can be.
What are you expecting from Dundee?
Well, Jim will be probably looking at a reaction from the other night. He'll obviously be disappointed with the scoreline. So for us, we just want to continue to build on, you know, a lot of our good play over these last couple of months. You know, we bounced back really well in the week. You know, great to watch in terms of especially the first half, the quickness of our game and the combinations, and and then kept another clean sheet, which was nice. So so for us, it's a continuation of how we've been, and Dundee are a team that will make it really difficult for us, I'm sure, and try to be really compact and tight, and like I say, we'll have to work hard for the win.
When you, just to clarify, Brendan, when you say next week for Hodgson, do you mean the Rangers game or the Aberdeen game?
I mean next week.
Same for Boyata, presumably as well.
Yeah.
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 Just wait and see how they are.
Yeah, yeah, they're back training. Yeah, they're back training. They're not quite. We don't need to rush them into this game because we've got obviously 3 important games in a week. So, but those guys will be available for next week.
And Lustig, is he?
He'll be available for next week. Yeah.
Okay.
Brendan, you said there about Dundee would likely be very compact, and they'll probably have quite a low defensive block. From our own defensive point of view, since coming in, Benkovic has displayed he's got an excellent range of passing, and shooting right beside him, Christopher Ayer is very talented at bringing the ball into midfield and causing overloads in the central or more advanced positions. Just from our own tactical point of view, how important is the role of our centre backs in helping us to break down the sort of defensive block that we often come across in the Scottish Premiership?
Well done. Tactical question. Yeah, it's very important. It's very important. The centre halves in many teams are your just tactical decision makers. You know, they decide the speed of the game. You know, so the distances between them allows you to shift the ball nice and quickly. And like you say, if you're playing against one man up front and one in behind, he is normally the spare man that can step in. So Philippe, yep, he's been brilliant since he's come in. For 21 years of age, shows a real high level of tactical idea. Areas that we know that we need to work on with him, but he's very good defensively, and like I say, he understands the role of having the ball and stepping in. And like you say, Joseph Simonovic, Christopher Ayer, Jack Hendry, these are boys that understand that playing for a big team like Celtic, and you have a lot of the ball, your central defenders are sometimes your spare man. Yeah. So they have to be able to carry the ball, like you rightly say. Okay? Good. Well done.
Cheers.
So you must have went on a different course then.